markets. Starting with the dollar index, we have been talking about the demand zone here around the 101 levels roughly during the past almost 2 weeks. However, the last week of August, we respected the demand. The previous week, we actually respected the demand, but somehow went lower again for a retest. This to me proves that the demand zone is still solid, and I'm still expecting a move higher during the week. On the daily time frame, we are doing nothing. We are just, confirming the low here. And to me, the bullish scenario will be activated during the week once we just clear the levels of 101.75. So I'll be just waiting for a move higher above 101.75 during the week, and I will definitely be looking to buy more of the dollar 101.75. On the smaller time frames, you will see it's a clear W pattern or the double bottom here. We might go down a little bit from the levels of the last resistance. That's totally fine. However, once we just break above the 101.75, I will definitely expect a move higher to 103. From here, if you are bullish, that's fine, okay. But as long as we are trading above the levels of 101 or the 100.50, it's a rough one-to-one risk to reward ratio. If you want to buy from here, it's not the best entry. So personally, I'll be looking for, a break above the 101.75, and my stops will be below this level, slightly better risk to reward ratio. So a move higher with a retracement, this is where I'll be, going long on the dollar index. During the week, I'll target the 103 and maybe even more. 104.50 is something that we can definitely see during this week. However, a break below the 100.50 for any reason, for any comments from the Federal Reserve due to the CPI numbers coming out, bearish on the dollar or whatever, your stops should always be below the 100.50 levels, because a break below means that this demand zone is no longer valid and will continue to move lower. Anyway, it's no longer valid, by the way, because it's exhausted. This demand zone is exhausted anyway, but I'm looking for a slight retracement from those levels, because we have been moving lower on the dollar index since 106. So I'm just looking for a move higher as a retracement, maybe, before moving lower again and again on the dollar index. But the levels of 103 is something I'll be personally looking to target on the dollar index during the week. Okay. Just a moment, guys, please. Thank you very much. Okay. I hope you'll have analysis on gold today. You will have analysis on gold right now. So since last week, gold has pretty much done nothing. Okay. So we were trading here around on Monday. I'm bearish. I was bearish during last week. I'm still bearish, but we didn't do much during the week. We are just trading in a sideways range, and this is where things are really critical. Okay, the next move on gold will definitely be great. My personal bias is bearish, but be aware, if the next move is bullish, it might be a huge move upward. So in this case, what we will do is we will look at the weekly time frame, and if you have attended our webinar on the supply and demand, you will know that what's happening here on gold on the weekly time frame It's 1, 2, 3 indecisive candles. What's an indecisive candle? It's exactly what you can see here. A small body, no change, almost, nothing, but, big wicks. So 3 indecisive candles. So markets have been doing nothing on gold during the last 3 weeks. It's just, a sideways range. The next move will definitely be a great move. I personally believe it will be lower. However, make sure that if you're bearish gold, your stops should be just above the highs. Because if the highs are cleared and we are moving higher, boom, we will have another move to a new all-time high. I don't personally believe this will happen. I mean, what I just mean is, just because I'm bearish, I'll not be, placing a stop loss where it should be. On the monthly time frame, remember what we said about the seasonality being bearish on gold during September. So far, the monthly candle is doing great. We couldn't really create a new high. The previous, monthly candle high was here, so we are still trading lower. Personally, I believe that this will just continue lower during the month, and that's why I'm bearish. However, on the other hand, if the candle just flipped, and if we cleared the high for this month and the high for the previous month, expect another bullish candlestick. I don't really believe this will happen. Again, I'm still bearish. I'm just giving you all of the scenarios because prices are going to go up or going to go down. I'm more biased to the down scenario from here. So yeah, on the weekly time frame, what I'll be waiting to see during this week is a break below the previous low, which is 2472 roughly, or 2471. Let's say 2470 as, this level, which means that on the smaller time frames, just wait for this rectangle pattern to break lower. So we have some lows here, 1, 2, we have some highs. It's a ping pong trade. This is what I expect will happen, and I'll be targeting at least 2380 during the week. If the other scenario happened and we have this ping pong trade like this, moved higher, which means we will be moving higher than the highs of the previous week and the previous month, we will definitely continue higher. I'm not so much leaning towards this scenario. So this is what I'm expecting on the dollar and on gold. Somehow makes sense. The dollar is expected to go higher, gold is expected to move lower. Even the currencies, when we look at the currencies, if you remember anything that we said during the last week on the euro, it was a great move. During the previous, not the previous week, but the one before, we said that the levels of 1.12 is a great supply on the bigger time frame. And since then, we were moving lower. During the last week, we went a little bit higher, and we said I'm expecting, some sort of resistance, or it's a retracement. But due to the volatility of the NFB day, that was Friday, we had this candle. However, we are continuing to move lower. So on the euro, I'm still basically bearish. Once we form a new lower low, so that's a low, that's a high. Once we just break below the 1.1040, we will form a new lower low, and I'm expecting to see 1.0915 during this week. The pound is a little bit ahead of the euro, so the pound is somehow right now trying to form a new lower low, which is good. And our targets on the pound during the week will be 1.3033. It's pretty much, Fibonacci. You see this? That was a previous resistance. We broke, so this might be support. If we break below this support, we'll move lower to 1.2960. So I'm bullish dollar, I'm bearish euro, I'm bearish pound, I'm bearish gold. For the dollar yen, this has already been broken. I'm bullish. I am bullish on the dollar yen as well. Let me have a look on the bigger time frame. The monthly candle so far, as we said, didn't break the previous low, which is good. The weekly time frame the previous week was bearish, but we are trading near very important, rejection candle here. So I think we will be bullish from those levels on the daily time frame. Yeah, there is some sort of call it support, call it supply, demand zone, whatever it is, but we are testing those levels of 142, and I believe we will go higher during the week. This is a daily time frame. So yeah, let's just work with Fibonacci targets. 143, let's say 144. Okay, 140. First target will be 144, second target will be 145. Thank you very much. Those are my targets on the dollar yen during the week, with only one condition: as long as we stay above those levels. So if you're going to place your stops, just place your stops somewhere around here, because if we move lower, and this might happen, everything might happen in markets. If we move lower and we break below this support, we'll continue the downward trend. Dollar yen up to 150. Okay, might be, but not this week. Don't think this will require, no, not this week. I mean, everything is theoretically possible, but 700 pips roughly in 1 week, no, I don't think so. Gold will take sell side liquidity and make a new high on my perspective. I respect your perspective, might be, but I don't really agree so much. Euro, yen, and pound yen. Based on Bank of Japan interstate news. Is gold the best time to trade? So what do you mean is gold the best time to trade? And we have a question on the Australian dollar. I really love people who know some specific pairs and they just follow those pairs. Monthly time frame, we reached resistance. I'm bearish. Weekly time frame, I'm bearish. Okay. This is a supply zone on the weekly time frame. Touched once, touched the second time, and we're moving lower. On the daily time frame, we are just forming, supply zones and supply zones. So those are some 2 indecisive candles. Let's see. Yeah, I'm bearish. I'm bearish on the Australian dollar. We broke structure. If you're working with demand and supply, so we have supply, we are moving lower. If you're working with market structure, so we broke the previous low, so this is a change of character. If you're working with the classical chart patterns, so we have a reversal head and shoulders. So there is really no any reason to buy Australian dollar right now. What are the targets? The targets would be, if we work with this wick, and if we consider those, lows here as supports, so I'll be looking for this cluster around 0.6580. So a move lower during the week of 80 pips. This is something I would really love to see, and I believe we will have some trouble from here. I love your analytical projections, right on point. Thank you very much. So that's for the Australian dollar. New Zealand dollar, of course, a little bit ahead of the Australian. So we already had, head and shoulders if you want. We already had the break of structure. It's again bearish. So everything, literally everything in the markets, technically, is confirming my view that I'm basically bullish. And I might be wrong, because when you study more about the psychology, I might have what's called the confirmation bias. I might be seeing everything, because I want to buy the dollar, I might be seeing this as the confirmation bias. And I know this might be wrong, but at the end, I'm giving you my view. What I'll do is, I'll definitely not buy dollar index and sell euro, sell pound, sell gold. I'll not do this. My exposure on my one analysis will be really high, and I'll be increasing my risk. In this case, what I would personally advise you to do is go again back to your strategy. I'm just working with my strategy or my way of analysis. Whatever your way of analysis or trading is, double check, see what I said, whether it confirms with what you believe or not, and then choose one trade out of this to trade with, and that's it. Don't increase your exposure, because at the end of the day, yeah, I might be bullish on the dollar, but again, I'm telling you, it might go down. Anything can happen in the markets, and you will not be a really good trader unless you know that markets can literally do anything at any time. We are trying to read the future here, and there is nothing, no one could ever know what will happen, especially that we have a lot of data and so on. So yes, trade, but always use the stop loss. Sorry. Okay, any of you New Zealand, Canadian guys, you're asking some currency pairs that I haven't looked at for ages, but this is bearish. Again, pretty much looks like the New Zealand dollar. We have just looked at the New Zealand dollar. Yeah, pretty much. Again, if you work with the classical chart patterns, head and shoulders, we broke below. If you work with, it's definitely some sort of supply. Oh, guys, look at this supply zone. Do you see those candles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a great decisive move, right? Because here we had some sort of supply. So if we want to know where are the supply zone, or where is the supply zone, this is the supply. You can see how how bearish we were from those levels. Look at what happened when we almost touched those levels. We didn't touch. Why we didn't touch? Because I'm basically working with the preferred version, which is the tighter version of the supply. If we work with the wide version, will we? Yeah, it's a perfect touch. It's a perfect touch to the supply. If I actually were trading on the New Zealand Canadian, I would have definitely been out of this trade, because I don't really work with the wide version. But if you work with the wide version, you have some 150 pips profits on the New Zealand Canadian, and I definitely expect to move even lower. This is a slight demand zone here. move higher, base, one base candle, and we moved again higher, so it's a rally based rally. So we will be targeting those levels, and again I expect to move lower to 0.82 on the New Zealand Canadian. I'm late. I want analysis on gold. As you said, you are late. So yes, we discussed gold, but just, you know, one word to describe gold: I'm bearish. Wait for a break below 2470 and I'll short gold. Okay, it's okay, guys. He was late. He was not rude. Like this happens. Okay, I think we have a question again. Why do you guys look at the pound Australian on Australian Canadian? Okay, let's have a look on the pound Australian. Thank you, Mohammed, for your weekly analysis. It's always great to have you every Monday. I hope you have a great week. Thank you very much. I have to go. Okay, good luck. Thank you for attending this. Okay. The pound Australian. Definitely targeting this level. Definitely targeting this level, 1.98. But this is a big time frame. This is somehow a rounding bottom here. You see how slowly this, you know, shifted from being bearish to sideways to bullish. We recently broke below or above the previous high. So it was, you know, low, high, equal low, slightly higher high, slightly higher low. Boom, we broke again above, and this is a higher high. So what I'll be looking for is any downward move on the pound Australian is definitely something to be bought to the 1.98. This is a large time frame analysis. On the 4-hour time frame, I'm expecting to see some weak momentum. Yes, we have some weak momentum here. So the pound Australian is to be shorted now, maybe, or what I mean is we are expecting a move lower just for a correction, because you can see that was a great move higher. We might move lower for a correction again before continuing higher. The perfect no, I think it will move lower. I think it will move lower, but the perfect thing to do right now is to wait for this sideways range, because we are trading sideways right now. Okay, since the last week we have done pretty much nothing, almost, you know, a sideways range. Once we break above 1.97, I would definitely buy to 1.98, but a move below 1.9640 might extend a correction, so we will delay our buying position a little bit. Someone literally sent a question saying, how can I give $50? If you want to give $50, I'll give you my bank account number and you can just transfer it to me. Okay, thank you very much. Did I drop something? So we had the pound Australian, and I think there was another Australian Canadian. Yeah, I'm sorry, Australian Canadian. Where is it? Here we go. So on the monthly, no, not let's do the monthly, but the monthly time frame, we broke above resistance, went down for a retest. This is a bullish candle from the levels of the retest, so maybe we will go a little higher, but not now. On the weekly time frame, it's definitely going down here. Not much of a view. Is it some sort of a price channel here? No, it's not. Is it a wedge? It's a wedge, I think. Because if we do this, this is where I love drawing, okay? Yeah, if we do this right here, and this is slightly tilting lower like this. Okay, I don't like this. I don't like the Australian Canadian. The sure thing is we will target the previous low. Okay, because we went higher, couldn't really reach the previous high, so there is some selling pressure here. So at least we will be, you know, testing the previous low around 0.8970, let's say. Maybe. And it's not really so far, it's around 60 pips from here. What will happen around the 0.8970, I absolutely don't know. And it's normal, you know, as an analyst to say I don't know. Will we respect this level and just, you know, continue sideways? Will we break below because we have a lower high, so we might form a new lower low? Absolutely have no idea. Any other questions, guys? Have we? Oh, we haven't looked at the US indices. What a shame. The S&P 500. Do you remember what we said during the last week? We had supply. We said once we break below the 55.90, we will be targeting, you know, the retracement to Fibonacci levels, starting with 54.50 and then the 54 levels roughly. We had this beautiful move lower. So yes, it was a great move lower on the S&P, and I don't really see any further downward move. So during this week, I'm changing a little bit my technical view. I'm not, you know, the momentum lower. So we're having this low, high, and low. But momentum is not so good to the downside. So I really think the current levels of the S&P might be good because we already have previous, you know, supports. It's the 50% Fibonacci. So you might expect a move higher on the S&P. Okay. So I expect a move higher, but it's challenging, to be honest, because although I don't really like momentum on the momentum indicator, but sometimes momentum indicators will not give you the full picture. I mean, the move lower is powerful. We took some slight time correction, you know, and another powerful move. So no, I wouldn't really trade the S&P during this week unless maybe we break above this level of 54.85. A break higher is definitely something I'll be happy with, and I'll be looking to buy. I don't think this might happen, so maybe this week will be just, you know, sideways week on the US indices. Then the Nasdaq went lower because we had a great move higher. We have a great move lower, so volatility is high in the US markets recently. I think this week might be a dull week. It will just move sideways somehow, maybe. Gold analysis, please. Gold. Everyone is asking for gold. We have already discussed gold. I'm bearish. I will short once we break below the 2470. What have to look before analyzing the market? You will just have to have coffee. to be honest, and I haven't had mine so far. What do you mean? What I have to look before analyzing the market? Just analyze the market. Just open the charts, see what you want to analyze, pay more attention, you know, give yourself time, and you will be able to analyze. It takes practice. You guys are late, I believe. I believe so. Yeah, also I believe. Okay, I think we are done with the questions. But, you know, because those people, even if they are late, they ask nicely in the comments. So let's have another look quickly on gold. This is what's happening on gold right now. It's a rectangle. It's a sideways range. I will be waiting for a break below the support, which is around it's a support cluster. It's not one level. It's around some levels between 2470 and 2475. A clear break below will definitely target, you know, I will target the 2380. A move higher above resistance, although it will be against my personal bias, but I will again stick to buying. And as long as it's trading between support and resistance, I'll definitely just watch. I will do nothing. I think I'll have to block someone here. Euro yen and pound yen. Okay, this will be the last thing I'll have to look at. I don't really like the euro yen. Oh, okay. Definitely bullish. Definitely bullish here. Euro yen is near demand. Okay, guys, this was a clear move lower. This was somehow a decisive candle and we moved higher. So there is some sort of demand here, and this is the indecisive candle. Okay, this one here. If you work with the wide version, it will be just a joke because you will have this, you know, wide version. If you work with the preferred version, so we are just around those levels. So I really like it. I really like it here. It's a move higher. It's a drop base rally. Guys, it's a perfect demand zone. So yes, something like this, 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. I'll be looking, you know, at the euro yen because I'm also bullish on the dollar yen. So maybe the yen will be weak again this week, maybe. As for the pound yen, I absolutely see nothing. Maybe we'll go higher a little bit before moving lower because that was a correction. We ended it by breaking below the last low. No, I don't really like the pound yen. I more like of, you know, the dollar yen and the euro yen. But for the pound yen, I'll have to watch it during the week. Okay. What usually happens is, what I believe, yeah, we have a lot of data coming out during this week. I never try to analyze the economic side of the economic agenda and say, okay, this is how I expect it will be reflected on the markets. Because a lot of times, you know, you have bullish data on the dollar and you find the dollar moving lower and the other way around. So I love to watch the economic agenda for long-term effect on the market. Don't focus on specific data points. That's what I'm trying to say. Because let's say the euro, okay, the euro is expected, the ECB or the central bank is expected to cut interest rates during this week. Does this mean that the euro will move lower? The euro is already moving lower since last maybe the 15 days or 2 weeks. It's already down 1.5%. Because why? Because markets are expecting that the ECB will cut interest rates. Maybe if they cut interest rates, the euro will start to correct higher a little bit. What I mean to say is the economic agenda, very limited time, it has direct impact on the markets. Okay, it has a long-term impact, definitely, yes. The Federal Reserve, okay, the dollar index. Did the Federal Reserve start cutting interest rates? They didn't. But the dollar has been trading lower since June, July, even maybe before that. So does this mean that the Federal Reserve cut interest rates so people are already, selling the dollar? No. Market expectations know that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates from a long time ago, and that's why they are ahead of the markets. So I don't really try to know what will happen in the markets by understanding the economic agenda. I just, look at the economic agenda and I follow technical analysis. That's it. Okay, guys, I think I'll have to wrap this up here. And I think I'll have to have some coffee to start the week and to know how we will be tackling this. Thank you very much for watching this. Thank you for staying with me for almost an hour. I'll see you guys during the next week. And please trade safe, please stay safe, and I'll see you. Goodbye.